Beloved, the presence you have sought in temples, in mountains, and in distant heavens is not afar. It lives within you. God is not a shadow in the sky, nor a power to be begged, but the very breath and life within your being. God dwells in you as your own consciousness. When you dare to believe this truth, you awaken to a power that reshapes your world. The same voice that once said, "Let there be light," speaks now through your imagination, through the silent visions you hold. Every thought clothed with feeling is a seed planted in eternity, destined to spring forth as reality. Do not wait for signs from outside. The sign is within you, the stirring of belief, the quiet assurance that what you have embraced inwardly must manifest. Your inner world is the workshop of God. When you feel lack, you create lack. When you feel abundance, you summon it into form. When you walk in faith, unseen doors open. Heaven is not a place you enter after death. It is the state of consciousness you dare to inhabit now. Guard your inner speech, for the whispers of your mind are the decrees of God. Speak to yourself as though the miracle has already been fulfilled, and the universe bends to echo your word. Above all, feel, for feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. To feel love is to draw love. To feel wealth is to magnetize abundance. To feel health is to awaken the body into wholeness. You are not a beggar before a throne. You are the throne itself. God lives in you, breathes through you, creates as you. The world you see is but the mirror of what you carry within. Therefore, rise today in the awareness of your divine inheritance. Claim it, feel it, live it. For the great secret is not that God exists, but that God exists in you. And when you feel His power in your heart, nothing shall be impossible to you. The divine is not a presence far removed from your life, dwelling in unreachable realms, waiting to be discovered in distant heavens or lofty temples. The divine dwells within you. It breathes through your every moment. It animates your every thought. It shines quietly in the background of your awareness. To believe that God is a power outside of you, far away and separate, is to live in illusion. To awaken to the truth that the infinite resides within your own consciousness is to discover the key to life, freedom, and power. Within you is the very essence of creation itself. The mind you call your own, the imagination that paints pictures unseen, is not merely a personal tool. It is the place where the divine expresses. Every image, every thought charged with belief is a spark of God at work. You are not merely a vessel praying to a distant force. You are the living expression of that force, called to recognize your own divinity. When you think, you are shaping reality. When you believe, you are commanding creation. When you feel deeply, you are uniting with God's power in its purest form. This truth transforms everything. If the divine lives in you, then you are never powerless, never abandoned, never at the mercy of chance or circumstance. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The world you see is the mirror of what you carry within your consciousness. What you hold as real in the silence of your heart must eventually show itself in the light of day. If you believe yourself to be weak, life will echo weakness. If you believe yourself to be blessed, life must confirm your blessing, for the divine does not argue, it simply reflects. To know that God dwells within you is to walk with a quiet authority. It is to stop begging the heavens for favor and to begin expressing the power that has been entrusted to you from the beginning. When you close your eyes and dare to imagine a better life, a healed body, a reconciled relationship, or a fulfilled dream, you are not indulging in fantasy. You are stepping into the workshop of the divine. Creation itself bends to the visions you sustain and the feelings you dare to embody. The divine within is not a distant echo, but a living presence. It speaks in the still, small voice of assurance, the quiet conviction that rises when you dare to believe. It does not come with thunder or fire, but with the gentle certainty that you are more than flesh and bone. You are spirit, clothed in humanity, carrying eternity in your consciousness. To awaken to this truth is the highest calling of your existence. You are not separate from God. You are the place where God lives. The temple is not made of stone or gold, but of awareness, thought, and imagination. Every time you turn inward and acknowledge this presence, you feel the power that can heal, create, and transform. The divine dwells within you. Feel it, trust it, live from it, and the world will reveal itself as nothing less than the outpicturing of your own awakened divinity. Your imagination is not a mere play of the mind or idle daydreaming. It is the sacred power by which creation itself is expressed. Every image you hold, every thought you entertain, and every belief you accept as true is a seed sown into the fertile soil of your consciousness. What you dare to imagine with conviction is destined to take form in your outer world. This is the hidden mystery of life. Imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the eternal and the temporal, between spirit and matter. When you understand this, you begin to treat your imagination with reverence. You no longer dismiss it as childish fantasy or idle thinking. Instead, you recognize it as the very voice of God speaking through you, the tool of creation placed in your hands. Every structure humanity has ever built, every invention, every work of art, every movement toward progress began first as an invisible picture in the imagination of someone who dared to believe in it. Before the bridge is built, it exists in thought. Before the song is heard, it resounds within the mind. Before a life is changed, the new state is first imagined and felt as true. What you imagine is not neutral, it has power. If you imagine fear, fear becomes your companion. If you imagine abundance, abundance draws near. If you imagine yourself as loved, love surrounds you. For imagination is not passive, it is causative. It sets into motion unseen currents that must eventually find expression in the visible world. This is why it is written that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Your inner pictures are not private, they are blueprints, silently shaping your destiny. The sacredness of imagination lies in the fact that it is not yours alone. It is God's creative power operating through you. When you close your eyes and see with the inner eye, you are entering the creative workshop of eternity. You are calling things that are not yet seen into being. And the moment you feel the reality of what you have imagined, you unite yourself with it in spirit. That union must eventually give birth in the world of form, for spirit cannot remain barren. This is why discipline of the imagination is essential. To let it wander aimlessly into fear, doubt, and limitation is to misuse divine power. But to guide it deliberately, to fill it with visions of beauty, joy, and fulfillment, is to align yourself with the highest purpose of your existence. The sacred gift has been entrusted to you, not that you may create sorrow, but that you may create life more abundant. So guard your inner pictures, choose them with care. Let your imagination become the sanctuary where you build the world you wish to live in. Know that every image sustained with faith is a prayer. Every belief is a command. Every thought clothed in feeling is an act of creation. Your imagination is sacred power. Honor it, use it, and through it reveal the divine that lives within you. Faith is not blind hope, nor is it a desperate wish cast into the unknown. Faith is the quiet certainty that what you accept within yourself must one day be revealed without. It is the bridge between the invisible world of thought and the visible world of form. To live by faith is to know that the unseen is more real than the seen, for the seen is but the shadow of what once existed in the silence of belief. Everything you experience outwardly was first accepted inwardly. The life you now call your own is the harvest of seeds once planted in the soil of your mind. Faith is the act of planting those seeds with confidence, knowing that though they are not yet visible, they must grow. You do not question whether a seed will sprout when you place it in the earth. In the same way, faith does not question whether your inward acceptance will manifest. It simply knows it must, for it is already accomplished in the realm of spirit. To doubt is to cut the bridge. To believe is to walk across it. Faith is not concerned with appearances, with reason, or with circumstance. It does not measure what is possible by what has been, nor does it shrink before obstacles. Faith sees the end as already accomplished and rests in that assurance. When you accept something inwardly as real, you have already claimed it in the only place where creation occurs. The outer world is but the echo, the delayed reflection of what has been secured within. This is why faith is power. It does not beg or plead, it assumes. It does not wait anxiously, it rests in certainty. To live in faith is to dwell in the feeling of the fulfilled desire long before the evidence appears. That feeling, held with persistence, is the bridge that carries your desire from the invisible to the visible. The world around you is compelled to rearrange itself to make room for the reality you have already accepted within. Faith is not merely belief in something greater. It is alignment with that greatness within you. It is saying yes to the divine presence that whispers in your heart, assuring you that all things are possible if only you will believe. Every miracle that has ever unfolded in history began as an act of faith. Someone dared to accept inwardly what the world declared impossible. To live without faith is to remain chained to appearances, forever at the mercy of what the eyes can see. But to live by faith is to transcend appearances, to know that what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal. Faith is not waiting for proof, it is becoming the proof. So accept within yourself the vision you long for. Claim it, feel it, and rest in the certainty that it already belongs to you. For faith is the bridge to manifestation, and what you embrace in the silence of your soul must one day stand before you in the light of your life. The conversations you hold within yourself are the most powerful forces shaping your destiny. Long before words ever leave your lips, they exist as silent dialogues in the secret chambers of your mind. These inner conversations may appear private, hidden from the world, but they are not without consequence. They are the architects of your reality. The words you speak inwardly, repeated day after day, become the script that life itself performs upon the stage of your existence. Every inner dialogue carries with it the energy of creation. When you rehearse failure, defeat, or fear in your mind, you are writing the story of your life in those terms. When you dwell on lack, you invite lack into your experience. When you repeat to yourself that you are unworthy, unnoticed, or unloved, the world must mirror back those very convictions. For the outer world is nothing more than the reflection of the inner word. But when you discipline the voice within and turn it toward life, strength, and blessing, everything begins to shift. If you speak inwardly of abundance, opportunities open. If you affirm silently that you are loved and worthy, love will surround you. If you carry on an inner conversation of courage, health, and peace, your world will rise to confirm those qualities. The unseen talk you have with yourself becomes the law you live by. It is not what others say about you that defines your world. It is what you say about yourself when no one else is listening. Your inner speech is the constant prayer you are offering to the divine. Each word carries authority, for it is the word of God, spoken through you. Life does not answer the scattered wishes of your surface mind, but the steady rhythm of your inner declaration. This is why it is written that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word. Those words are not only the ones spoken aloud, but also those repeated silently in the heart. Your inner conversation is the command you send to creation itself. To change your world, you must first change the story you tell yourself. Speak not of defeat, but of faith. Speak not of scarcity, but of overflowing supply. Let your mind become a sanctuary of uplifting, powerful speech. For whatever you rehearse within will soon echo without. The miracle of inner speech is that it requires no audience, no ritual, no outward display. It is constant, and therefore it is the most potent tool of transformation available to you. You are speaking your world into existence every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. So take hold of the conversation within. Make it noble, make it faithful, make it alive with beauty and hope. For the words you whisper silently to yourself are not wasted thoughts. They are seeds planted in eternity, destined to blossom into the circumstances of your life. Guard them, guide them, and let them declare only the truth you wish to live. For your inner conversation shapes your reality, and by it you rise or fall. Feeling is the hidden key that unlocks the door between the unseen and the seen, the eternal and the temporal. It is not enough to think of your desire or to picture it vaguely in the imagination. Thought alone is but a shadow. It is when thought is clothed with feeling that it becomes alive. Feeling gives substance to the invisible image and seals it with the stamp of conviction. To feel the reality of your desire is to enter into union with God's creative power, for God moves through feeling. Every desire is a call from within, a whisper of the divine urging you to awaken to a greater expression of life. But desire in itself does not manifest. It must be embraced with feeling, for feeling is the evidence of faith. When you feel yourself already in possession of that which you long for, you declare to the universe that it is done. The world cannot resist such conviction, for creation itself responds to the vibration of feeling. When you imagine something and feel indifferent, you remain a spectator. But when you imagine and allow yourself to feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude of its fulfillment, you become a participant in creation. You step into the state of the wish fulfilled, and in that state, you and your desire are one. The door is opened. and what was once unseen is compelled to take form in your life. This is why it is said that faith without works is dead. For the true work is not outer action but inner feeling. To feel the reality of your desire is to give it breath and life. It is to impress it upon the deepest levels of consciousness, where God's power resides. The outer world, though slow to change, must eventually conform to the inner feeling that has been accepted as real. Speaking is the language of the divine. Words may be empty, thoughts may be fleeting, but feeling is truth. It cannot be disguised or denied, for it radiates through every fiber of your being. If you feel fear, fear shapes your path. If you feel love, love surrounds you. If you feel abundance, abundance flows into your world. Life echoes what you feel, for feeling is the energy that animates all creation. This is why you must learn to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when appearances contradict it. To wait for the world to change before you feel the change is to remain bound. But to feel the change first is to release the power that compels the world to follow. You are not asked to struggle, to beg, or to wait endlessly. You are asked only to feel, to enter inwardly into the joy of already having what you desire. So close your eyes and step through the secret door. Feel yourself already the person you wish to be. Feel the love you long to receive. Feel the success, the health, the freedom. Let that feeling saturate you until it becomes more real than the world around you. For once you feel it, the door is opened, and nothing can keep your desire from becoming flesh. Feeling is the secret door, and through it you unite with the very power of God. You were never created to crawl before heaven in weakness, pleading for scraps of mercy. You were created to stand as the living vessel of God's own authority. The divine did not place its spirit within you so that you would beg for power, but so that you would awaken to it. To see yourself as a beggar before life is to deny the truth of who you are. To recognize yourself as the channel through which God expresses is to rise into the majesty of your true inheritance. Authority is not something you must earn from the outside. It is the birthright of every soul who carries the breath of the infinite. This authority is not arrogance, not domination over others, but the sacred realization that the same power that formed the stars dwells in you. It speaks through your thoughts, it feels through your heart, it creates through your imagination. You are not separate from that power. You are the chosen instrument of its expression. The world teaches you to look upward, to cry out to a distant heaven, as if your answers lie in some faraway throne. Yet the kingdom of God is not in the clouds, nor in the temples of stone, but within you. To awaken to your divine authority is to turn inward, to recognize that the Creator acts through your consciousness. When you decree a thing within and feel it as real, you are exercising divine authority. You are not asking permission. You are declaring truth, and creation must obey. This authority is subtle, yet unshakable. It is not measured by volume of words, but by depth of conviction. One silent assumption held with certainty outweighs 1,000 loud prayers of doubt. The beggar pleads, "Please give me what I lack." The awakened soul declares, "I already am that which I seek." The difference is everything. One denies the presence of God within, while the other embodies it. When you awaken to your divine authority, fear loses its grip. You no longer tremble before circumstances, for you know they are only reflections of states within. You stop blaming fate, fortune, or others, for you see clearly that the pen is in your hand. You are writing the story of your life with every thought you accept, every feeling you sustain, every word you speak within. This is not a burden, but a gift, the greatest gift, for it means you are never without power. To live in this awareness is to walk as one who knows the truth, that heaven is not a place you enter after death, but a reality you embody now. You are not waiting to be blessed. You are the blessing. You are not waiting for God to act. You are the act of God in motion. So rise from the posture of a beggar and take your place as a vessel of divine expression. Speak with the authority of one who knows that the power of creation is alive within. Dare to assume, to feel, to declare and to live as though the fullness of God were already yours, for it is. The world will bow to that authority, for it is not yours alone. It is the eternal authority of the divine choosing to express through you. Beloved, the truth has been spoken. God is not distant nor hidden beyond the stars. The divine dwells in you, speaks through your imagination, breathes through your faith, shapes your world through your inner conversation, and opens every door through the power of feeling. You are not a beggar before heaven, but the vessel through which heaven reveals itself on earth. The life you desire is not far away. It is waiting within you, ready to be claimed. Dare to believe it. Dare to feel it. Dare to live it. For when you awaken to the presence of God within, nothing is impossible. Say thank you for receiving these words with an open heart. May you walk in the awareness of your divine power and live as the true expression of God within you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin with a profound truth. Everything you see in your life, every circumstance, every person, every event is a reflection of your inner world. There is a power within you that is limitless, waiting to be awakened and directed. The key to tapping into this power lies in one simple yet powerful truth. What you visualize and consistently hold in your imagination will inevitably come to pass. It takes no more than 3 days. Everything in your life, whether you are aware of it or not, is a product of your consciousness. Consciousness is the foundation of all creation. It is the very force that molds and shapes the world you experience. It governs the events, circumstances, and people that come into your life. And understanding this principle is the first step toward mastering your reality. Many believe that life happens to them, that they are at the mercy of outside forces, whether that be luck, fate, or chance. But this is an illusion. The truth is that nothing in your life happens by accident. Every event, every interaction, and every outcome is drawn to you by the state of your consciousness. It is your beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that create the blueprint for your experiences. And because of this, you are far more powerful than you may have ever realized. Your consciousness is always at work, whether you are aware of it or not. It does not rest, it does not pause, and it does not take breaks. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, and even in your dreams, your consciousness is creating your reality. Every thought you think, every feeling you dwell upon, and every belief you hold imprints itself on the fabric of your life, manifesting in physical form. The sooner you recognize this truth, the sooner you can begin to consciously direct this power toward the fulfillment of your desires. Consider for a moment the power of thought. A single thought, when held with conviction, can alter the course of your life. Every invention, every great achievement, every personal success first began as a thought in someone's mind. But a thought alone is not enough. It is the energy behind the thought that brings it to life. That energy comes from your consciousness, from your unwavering belief in what is possible. Your beliefs are particularly powerful because they operate at a deeper level than your conscious thoughts. They reside in your subconscious mind, acting like a program that runs in the background, shaping your experiences without you even realizing it. If you believe that life is a struggle, then you will continually encounter difficulties. If you believe that abundance is your birthright, then opportunities for prosperity will naturally flow into your life. This is why it is essential to become aware of your beliefs and to align them with the reality you wish to create. The most effective way to harness the power of your consciousness is to deliberately choose the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that you entertain. This means becoming mindful of the content of your mind. Are your thoughts filled with doubt, fear, and limitation? Or are they filled with confidence, faith, and possibility? Whatever you focus on will grow and multiply in your life. When you focus on lack, you will attract more lack. When you focus on abundance, you will attract more abundance. But this process is not simply about thinking positive thoughts. It is about embodying a state of being that is aligned with the life you want to live. You must feel the reality of your desires as though they are already fulfilled. You must live in the end, knowing that what you imagine within will inevitably express itself in the world around you. This is the creative power of consciousness. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of your reality. And by choosing to direct your consciousness with intention, you can create a life that reflects your highest aspirations. Imagination is the starting point of all creation. It is the seed from which your reality grows, the inner vision that precedes the manifestation of anything tangible in your life. Whether you are aware of it or not, every aspect of your external world is first formed in the realm of your imagination. What you consistently hold in your mind as real eventually takes shape and becomes your lived experience. Underestimate the power of imagination, dismissing it as mere fantasy or daydreaming. But the truth is that imagination is the creative faculty of the mind. It is the tool through which you consciously shape your destiny. Every great achievement, every advancement in human history began as an idea in someone's imagination. It is through this inner vision that the artist paints a masterpiece, the inventor conceives a groundbreaking device, and the visionary leader transforms society. Without the seed of imagination, nothing new could ever come into being. Your imagination is not limited by the constraints of the physical world. It is boundless and infinite, capable of transcending the limitations of time and space. In your mind, you can travel to any place, live in any future, and create any experience you desire. It is here, in this invisible realm, that you lay the foundation for what will later unfold in your life. What you imagine today has the potential to become your reality tomorrow, and the more vivid and consistent your vision, the more powerfully it will manifest. But it is not enough to simply imagine what you want, you must also feel it. Emotion is the energy that gives life to your imagination. When you vividly picture your desired outcome and infuse it with strong, positive emotion, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This seed will begin to grow, and as you nurture it with belief and faith, it will push through the invisible into the visible, becoming a part of your everyday reality. The process of creation is often misunderstood. People think that what they see in the physical world is all there is. They rely on their senses to determine what is real, but this is a limited way of understanding reality. What you experience with your five senses is merely the effect of previous thoughts and beliefs. The true cause of everything in your life is invisible. It begins in your mind. Imagination allows you to create beyond the constraints of your current circumstances, giving you the power to shape your future regardless of your present conditions. Many individuals fall into the trap of focusing solely on what they don't want, imagining worst-case scenarios or dwelling on problems. This too is a form of imagination, but it works against them. When you imagine negative outcomes, you are planting seeds of fear and doubt, which will eventually bear fruit in the form of undesirable circumstances. It is crucial to understand that your imagination can work for you or against you, depending on how you direct it. By consciously choosing to focus on what you desire rather than what you fear, you can harness the power of your imagination to create a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. To truly unlock the potential of your imagination, you must learn to live from the end. This means imagining yourself as already being the person you want to become, already having the experiences you desire. When you embody the feelings of your wish fulfilled, You align yourself with the reality you seek to create. In doing so, you set the creative process in motion, and your outer world will begin to reflect the inner vision you hold in your mind. Imagination is not passive, it is the active force of creation. Every thought, every mental image is a seed. If you want to change your life, begin by changing the pictures you hold in your mind. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel it deeply, believe it fully, and trust that the seeds you plant in your imagination will grow into the reality you experience. The law of assumption is a profound and transformative principle that governs the process of creation in your life. It states that whatever you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, will manifest in your reality. Your assumptions are the driving force behind the circumstances, events, and outcomes that shape your experience. By mastering this law, you gain the ability to direct the course of your life with intention and purpose. At its core, the law of assumption is based on the idea that your external world reflects the beliefs and assumptions you hold within. It is not what you wish for, hope for, or even desire that brings about change in your life, but rather what you assume to be true in your mind. Your assumptions are like seeds planted in the soil of your subconscious mind, and they will eventually grow into the conditions and experiences that match the nature of those seeds. The power of this law lies in its simplicity. You do not need to figure out how your desire will come to pass, you only need to assume that it already has. When you assume that your wish is fulfilled, you are shifting your consciousness to align with the reality you desire. This shift in consciousness sets in motion unseen forces that will work to bring your assumption into physical manifestation. The key is to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to embody the state of your desired outcome as if it were already a fact. Many people misunderstand the law of assumption because they are conditioned to look to the external world for proof before they believe something is possible. However, this approach is backward. The law operates from the inside out, meaning that your inner assumptions must change before you will see any evidence in your outer world. If you continue to hold on to old assumptions about lack, limitation, or failure, you will continue to experience those conditions, regardless of how much effort you put into changing your external circumstances. To effectively use the law of assumption, you must cultivate a deep sense of belief in your desired outcome. This belief is not based on wishful thinking or blind faith, but on the conviction that your assumption is already a reality. You must train your mind to dwell in the state of fulfillment, allowing the feeling of having your desire to dominate your thoughts and emotions. This is not about forcing yourself to think positively or suppressing doubt, but about consciously choosing to focus on the reality you wish to create, even in the face of current conditions that seem to contradict it. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of assumption is that it does not require external validation. You do not need anyone else to agree with your assumption, nor do you need to see immediate results. The law works according to your inner state of being, and as long as you persist in the assumption of your desired outcome, it will inevitably manifest. This persistence is key. Many people give up too soon, allowing doubt and fear to creep in and sabotage their efforts. But if you remain steadfast in your assumption, the outer world will eventually conform to match the inner reality you have created. The law of assumption also operates on the principle that what you focus on expands. If you assume success, abundance, love, or health, you will naturally begin to attract experiences that align with those assumptions. On the other hand, if you assume struggle, lack, or failure, you will continue to encounter obstacles and challenges that reflect those negative assumptions. Therefore, it is crucial to become aware of the assumptions you are carrying and to deliberately choose those that support the reality you wish to experience. The law of assumption teaches that you are the creator of your reality. You have the power to shape your life according to the assumptions you hold. By assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled and living in that state of mind, you can manifest any desire, regardless of your current circumstances. The universe is responsive to your inner world, and when you align your consciousness with the reality you seek, you unlock the door to unlimited possibilities. faith in the unseen is one of the most essential principles governing the process of creation and manifestation in your life. It is the ability to believe in the reality of something that has not yet appeared in the physical world. It requires you to trust in the invisible, to know with certainty that what you desire is already on its way, even though there is no tangible evidence in front of you. This faith in the unseen is the key to unlocking the limitless potential of your mind and the universe. Most people are conditioned to rely on what they can see, hear, touch, and measure. They believe in what their senses tell them and base their decisions and beliefs on the information gathered from the external world. But the unseen realm, the world of thoughts, beliefs, and imagination, is far more powerful than anything you can perceive with your physical senses. It is from this unseen world that everything in the physical world originates. If you limit your belief to only what is visible, you are cutting yourself off from the vast creative power that resides within you. Faith in the unseen means trusting that what you have imagined or desired is already real in the invisible realm, even if you cannot yet see it with your eyes. It is an inner conviction, a deep knowing that what you desire exists and will inevitably manifest if you persist in your belief. This faith allows you to stay aligned with your goals and dreams, regardless of external circumstances. You stop being reactive to what is happening around you and instead become proactive in creating your future. The power of this faith lies in its ability to transcend the limitations of the physical world. While your senses may tell you that something is impossible, faith in the unseen assures you that everything is possible if you can believe it. It allows you to remain steadfast in your vision, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. This unwavering belief keeps you aligned with your desires, enabling the universe to respond by bringing them into form. One of the most important aspects of faith in the unseen is the ability to let go of how your desire will come to fruition. When you hold faith in the unseen, you trust that the universe will arrange the details in the most perfect way, often in ways you could not have predicted or planned. This requires surrendering the need to control every step of the process and instead focusing on maintaining the inner state of belief. Your job is not to figure out the how, your job is to remain in a state of faith, knowing that the path will reveal itself when the time is right. Faith in the unseen also fosters patience and persistence. Many people give up on their dreams because they do not see immediate results. They allow doubt and fear to take over when their desires do not materialize as quickly as they hoped. But faith in the unseen requires that you trust the process, even when there is no visible sign of progress. It requires you to persist in your belief, even when the outer world shows no evidence of change. This faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the catalyst that transforms thought into reality. The unseen is not empty or void, it is the very foundation of creation. Every thought, every feeling, every belief you hold exists in the unseen before it takes form in the physical world. When you cultivate faith in the unseen, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe. You become a co-creator of your reality, no longer limited by the constraints of the material world. Faith in the unseen is about trusting the creative process. It is about believing in the power of your mind to bring your desires into existence. By holding steadfast in this belief, you move beyond the limits of what your senses tell you and tap into the boundless potential of the universe. Faith in the unseen is the bridge that connects your imagination to your reality, transforming your dreams into your lived experience. The 3-day principle is a powerful concept that can transform your approach to manifestation. It suggests that if you can hold a clear, unwavering vision of your desired outcome in your mind for just 3 consecutive days, the momentum of that vision will set into motion the necessary events to bring it to life. It's not about forcing anything to happen within 72 hours, but about cultivating a state of inner certainty that, once maintained for 3 days, becomes the foundation for the manifestation of your desires. The idea behind the 3-day principle is rooted in the power of focused consciousness. Our thoughts are creative forces, but many of us scatter them, jumping from one idea to another, often accompanied by doubt, fear, or hesitation. The principle emphasizes the importance of sustained mental focus over a short, manageable period, allowing you to immerse yourself fully in the feeling and belief that your wish has already been fulfilled. During these 3 days, you are not to question, second guess, or allow outside circumstances to interfere with your inner knowing. Instead, you are to live from the end result, feeling and acting as if your desire is already a reality. The first day of this process is critical because it is when you plant the seed. On this day, you must clearly define what it is that you want to manifest. This requires more than simply thinking about your desire. You must feel it with emotional intensity. Imagination plays a key role here. You must picture yourself in the desired situation, experiencing the joy, satisfaction, or peace that comes with the fulfillment of your wish. This initial step is about setting the intention with clarity and conviction. The moment you begin to feel that your desire is real in your imagination, you have sown the seed in the fertile ground of your subconscious mind. The second day is about nourishing the seed. This means maintaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of what your external circumstances may suggest. You might wake up on the second day and notice that nothing in the outer world has changed. This is where many people falter. They allow doubt to creep in, because they don't see immediate results. But the 3-day principle requires you to stay steadfast in your assumption. On the second day, your focus should be on reinforcing the belief that what you desire is already in the process of unfolding. You must nurture this belief with unwavering faith, even if the outer world shows no evidence of change. The third day is when the seed takes root. By this point, you should have cultivated a state of calm assurance that your desire is on its way. There is a deep inner knowing that the universe is aligning circumstances, events, and people to bring your vision into reality. At this stage, you begin to release the need to control the outcome because you trust that it is already done. On the third day, your role is simply to rest in the feeling of fulfillment. It is not a time for forcing or striving, but for allowing. The seed you planted on the first day, nourished with faith on the second, is now taking root in your subconscious mind, and from there it will blossom into physical reality. It's important to note that the 3-day principle does not necessarily mean that your desire will physically manifest in 3 days, although sometimes it can happen that quickly. Instead, it means that after 3 days of focused, unwavering belief, you will have set the creative process in motion. Once this happens, the wheels are turning, and the universe is working behind the scenes to bring about the desired outcome. What you experience on the third day is often an inner shift, a feeling of certainty and peace, knowing that what you've imagined is already yours, even if the outer evidence hasn't yet appeared. The 3-day principle is a mental and emotional discipline. It teaches you to commit to a focused intention for a short but intense period, allowing the power of your consciousness to create the foundation for manifestation. By holding your vision unwaveringly for 3 days, you set the stage for your desires to unfold, trusting in the unseen forces at work. It's a method that helps you align your mind, emotions, and beliefs with the reality you wish to create, making manifestation an effortless and natural process. In the end is a transformative concept that invites you to step into the reality of your desire before it physically manifests. It is about aligning your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with the state of already having or being what you seek. By doing so, you are no longer waiting for your desire to come to pass, but instead you are dwelling in the state of its fulfillment, which sets into motion the forces that will bring it into your life. The essence of living in the end is rooted in the understanding that your consciousness creates your reality. Everything you experience in the external world first begins as a state of mind. When you embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are telling the universe that this reality is already yours. This internal shift aligns you with the vibration of your desire, making it a part of your lived experience even before it shows up in physical form. One of the key elements of living in the end is emotional alignment. It is not enough to simply think about what you want. You must feel as if it is already yours. Emotions are the fuel that powers your thoughts. When you generate the feelings associated with having your desire, whether it's joy, gratitude, peace, or excitement, you signal to your subconscious mind that this is your reality. The subconscious mind, which doesn't distinguish between what is real and imagined, begins to act on these signals, influencing your actions and decisions in ways that bring your desire closer to you. This principle also requires a shift in focus. Instead of fixating on the absence of your desire or constantly checking for signs that it is manifesting, living in the end means that you rest in the confidence that it is already done. You stop obsessing over how or when it will happen, and instead, you trust the process. This trust is essential, because when you are truly living in the end, there is no sense of lack or longing. You are no longer in a state of waiting, you are in a state of having. In the end also changes how you interact with the world. When you live from the perspective that your desire is already fulfilled, your behaviors, decisions, and even your body language shift to match that state. You act as though you are already living the life you want, and as a result you begin to attract opportunities, people, and circumstances that align with that version of yourself. For example, if you are seeking a new job, living in the end would mean adopting the mindset, confidence, and actions of someone who already has that dream job. You start to carry yourself with the assurance that comes from knowing the outcome is inevitable. Another important aspect of living in the end is persistence. Your current reality may not immediately reflect the state you are trying to embody, but this does not mean that your manifestation is not on its way. It is crucial to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. This persistence keeps you aligned with your desire and prevents you from falling back into old patterns of doubt, fear, or lack. The more you practice living in the end, the more natural it becomes, and soon the external world begins to shift to match your inner state. Living in the end also involves letting go of resistance. Often people focus so much on what they don't have that they unknowingly perpetuate the state of lack. When you are constantly thinking about how much you want something, you are affirming its absence in your life. Living in the end eliminates this resistance because you are no longer yearning for something in the future. You are living in the knowing that it is already yours. This sense of peace and fulfillment dissolves any internal blocks that might be preventing your desire from manifesting. Living in the end is a powerful practice that accelerates the process of manifestation. It is about assuming the state of your desired reality and feeling it as if it is already a fact in your life. This mindset not only aligns you with your desire, but also removes the barriers of doubt and impatience that can hinder the manifestation process. When you live from the end, you create a mental and emotional environment that is conducive to bringing your desires into physical form, transforming your life from the inside out. In conclusion, the power to shape your reality lies within your ability to harness your imagination, trust in the unseen, live in the end, and apply the law of assumption. These principles remind us that our inner state, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are the true creators of our external world. By cultivating unwavering faith, focusing on our desires, and embodying the feeling of their fulfillment, we align ourselves with the reality we seek to manifest. Thank you for embracing this journey of self-realization and conscious creation. May you always remember that the life you envision is already yours to claim. My friends, there comes a moment in each of our lives when we must face a simple, yet profound truth: we are not in control of everything. No matter how much we strive, plan, or scheme, there is a force far greater, far wiser, at work in the universe. This force, this omnipotent power, is what I call God. Faith is more than just a belief in something unseen. It is the deepest form of trust. It goes beyond mere hope or wishful thinking. Faith is the absolute conviction that the universe is working in perfect harmony with your highest good, even when the evidence before you suggests otherwise. It is this trust that liberates you from the need to control or force outcomes, because you understand that a higher power, what we call God, has already orchestrated everything in divine timing and order. The nature of this trust is profound. It is rooted in the knowledge that God, the divine intelligence that governs all of existence, sees the bigger picture, one that our limited minds cannot fully grasp. When we release our attachments to how things should be and trust in God's plan, we open ourselves up to infinite possibilities. Faith is the recognition that what we desire, what we are seeking, has already been created in the unseen realm and is making its way into our physical reality. The timing and the manner in which it unfolds are not for us to control, but for us to trust. Faith is not passive. It is an active, dynamic force within us. It calls on us to live as though what we seek is already ours. When you have faith, you are no longer waiting for external signs or conditions to validate your desires. You no longer say, "I will believe it when I see it." Instead, you confidently affirm, "I know it is done, and I will see it when it is ready to manifest." This is the heart of faith, the belief that everything you need is already on its way, already fulfilled in the divine mind. This trust does not mean that you will never face difficulties or setbacks. Faith does not promise a life without obstacles, but it does promise that you will have the strength and wisdom to overcome them. When you place your trust in God, you are not denying the reality of life's challenges. Instead, you are affirming that no matter what happens, you are being supported and guided by an unfailing power. This power is always working for your good, even when the path ahead seems uncertain or unclear. Faith, then, is the ultimate act of trust. It is the knowing that you are never alone, never abandoned, and that everything is already being taken care of in ways that are beyond your comprehension. When you fully surrender to this trust, you free yourself from worry, fear, and doubt, and you step into the flow of divine grace, where all things are possible. This is the power of faith to transform your life by trusting in the unseen, by leaving everything in God's hands, and knowing that all is already well. Imagination is often seen as a mere tool for creativity or fantasy, but it is far more than that. It is the divine power within us, the very mechanism through which God creates reality. To understand this is to grasp the profound truth that our imagination is not separate from the creative force of the universe. In fact, it is the channel through which that force works. When we engage our imagination consciously, we align ourselves with the divine process of creation, shaping our world from the inside out. When you understand imagination as the divine power, you begin to realize that you are always creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. The images, thoughts, and feelings you dwell on in your mind shape the reality you experience. If your imagination is filled with fear, doubt, and limitation, your external world will reflect that. But when you fill your imagination with images of joy, abundance, and possibility, you invite those experiences into your life. In this way, your imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between potential and manifestation. This understanding brings with it a great responsibility. To imagine consciously is to take an active role in the creation of your life. It is not enough to passively allow your mind to wander into negative or limiting territory. You must take control of your imagination, deliberately filling it with the things you wish to experience. This is how you co-create with God, by using your imagination as a tool to bring forth the reality you desire. The process begins with faith, for imagination works best when it is grounded in the belief that what you imagine is not only possible but inevitable. When you visualize something with conviction, when you see it as already done, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. This is the essence of divine creation, imagining the end result as though it has already been achieved, and then trusting that the path to its realization will unfold naturally. Your imagination is not bound by the limitations of the physical world. It is infinite, limitless, and free. In the realm of imagination, anything is possible, and this is why it is such a powerful force. When you imagine something, you are not constrained by the present circumstances, by what appears to be true in the physical realm. You are tapping into a higher reality, one where all possibilities exist. The more vividly and consistently you imagine your desired outcome, the more you draw it into the physical world. This is the divine nature of imagination. It allows you to transcend the limitations of the present moment and create a new reality. It is through imagination that you can transform your life, regardless of the conditions you find yourself in. Even if the external world seems fixed or unchangeable, your imagination remains free and unlimited. capable of shaping any circumstance into what you desire. The beauty of imagination is that it is always available to you. No matter where you are or what you are facing, you can retreat into the infinite space of your imagination and begin to create a new vision for your life. By doing so, you activate the divine power within you, the same creative force that formed the universe. This is the power of imagination. It is the divine spark within you, constantly creating, constantly bringing forth new realities from the unseen into the seen. Imagination as the divine power. You unlock the ability to shape your world with intention and purpose. You are no longer a passive observer of life, but an active creator, working in harmony with the divine to bring forth the reality that is most aligned with your highest good. Through imagination, you step into your true power, the power to create, transform, and manifest the life you truly desire. The present moment is more than just a fleeting instance in time. It is the key to unlocking the fullness of life. To truly understand this is to realize that the present moment contains within it the seeds of everything you desire. When we speak of the present moment as fulfilled, we are not simply talking about experiencing life as it happens. We are referring to the profound truth that everything you could ever want, every outcome you seek, already exists in its entirety within the now. In the world of time, we are conditioned to think in terms of past, present, and future. We often see ourselves as moving from one point to another, from a place of lack to a place of fulfillment. However, this linear view of life keeps us trapped in a cycle of striving and waiting. We believe that happiness, success, or peace is something that lies ahead of us in the future. Yet the divine reality operates differently. In the eyes of God, there is no time, no past or future, only the eternal now. Everything that ever was or ever will be is contained within the present moment. This realization shifts the way we approach life. When we understand that the present moment is already fulfilled, we stop chasing after things, experiences, or outcomes. We recognize that what we desire already exists in the divine realm. It is not something we have to wait for or work toward. It is something we must simply align ourselves with. The future we hope for is already happening in a higher plane of reality, and it is our task to tune our consciousness to that truth. What does it mean to align ourselves with the present moment as fulfilled? It means to live with the understanding that the fullness of life is available to us right now. When we stop waiting for a future event or condition to bring us joy, peace, or fulfillment, we open ourselves to the possibility of experiencing those things immediately. This is the power of the present moment. When you fully inhabit it, you are in direct connection with the infinite, with the source of all creation. The mistake we often make is thinking that fulfillment is something external to us, something that comes from achieving goals or reaching certain milestones. But true fulfillment comes from within. It is not about what you have or what you do, but about your state of being. When you allow yourself to feel fulfilled in the present moment, you attract more of that fulfillment into your life. The external world begins to mirror your internal state. This is why it is said that the present moment is the only place where creation happens. By feeling fulfilled now, you bring into existence the conditions and circumstances that match that feeling. One of the most liberating aspects of living in the present moment as fulfilled is that it frees you from the burden of waiting. We spend so much of our lives in a state of anticipation, believing that something in the future will finally make us complete. But when you understand that everything you seek is already within you, right now you step out of the cycle of longing and into the experience of having. This shift in consciousness allows you to live from a place of peace and contentment, knowing that all is already well. It is important to note that this does not mean you stop desiring or aspiring. Desire is a natural part of life, and it is through desire that we grow and expand. However, when you see the present moment as fulfilled, your desires take on a different quality. Instead of coming from a place of lack or need, they arise from a state of wholeness. You no longer desire things because you feel incomplete. You desire them as expressions of the fullness you already feel within. In this way, your desires are not about filling a void, but about experiencing the richness of life in greater and more diverse ways. The present moment holds everything you need. It is the point of power, the place where all possibilities converge. When you learn to see the present as fulfilled, you stop chasing after life and start experiencing it in its fullness. You become a co-creator with the divine, manifesting your desires effortlessly because you are already living in the feeling of having them. This is the essence of true fulfillment, recognizing that the present moment, right here, right now, contains everything you could ever want and more. Doubt and fear are two of the most persistent barriers that stand between us and the life we desire. They are like shadows that creep into our minds, casting uncertainty over our goals and dreams, convincing us that what we seek is either too far out of reach or not meant for us at all. Yet the truth is that doubt and fear are illusions, mental constructs, that only have power when we give them our attention. Letting go of doubt and fear is one of the most liberating acts we can perform, allowing us to step into a life of clarity, confidence, and divine alignment. At their core, doubt and fear stem from a misunderstanding of who we are and the nature of the universe. We have been conditioned to believe that we are separate from the creative force that governs life, that we are at the mercy of external events or circumstances. This belief leads to fear, which in turn breeds doubt about our abilities, our worth, and the possibility of achieving what we truly want. But when we begin to understand that we are not separate from this creative force, that we are, in fact, one with it, fear and doubt start to lose their grip on us. One of the key principles to letting go of doubt and fear is recognizing that they are not real in the absolute sense. They are simply thoughts, mental projections of possible negative outcomes that have no actual existence outside of our minds. Fear is often described as false evidence appearing real, and this is an apt description. Fear convinces us that the worst-case scenario is not only possible, but probable. It creates a false reality where we imagine everything going wrong, leading us to hesitate, second-guess ourselves, and shrink from taking bold actions. Doubt, on the other hand, undermines our faith. It whispers, what if it doesn't work out? What if you're not good enough? What if you fail? But doubt is also a product of limited thinking. It comes from focusing on our human limitations, rather than recognizing the infinite power that resides within us. When we see ourselves as small, separate beings, we are more likely to doubt our ability to achieve great things. But when we understand that we are connected to an infinite source of wisdom, power, and love, we realize that there is nothing to fear, and no reason to doubt. Letting go of doubt and fear begins with a shift in perception. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, we must focus on what could go right. Instead of imagining failure, we must imagine success. Instead of doubting our capabilities, we must trust in the divine intelligence that flows through us. This shift requires practice, but it is incredibly powerful. The more we train our minds to focus on positive outcomes, the more we align ourselves with the energy of those outcomes. In doing so, we not only reduce doubt and fear, but we also start to attract the very circumstances that lead to success. But another important aspect of letting go of doubt and fear is learning to live in the present moment. Fear is always about the future. It is a projection of something that might happen. Doubt, too, lives in the realm of what if. But in the present moment, there is no room for fear or doubt. In the now, we are safe, whole, and capable. By bringing our attention back to the present, we weaken the hold that fear and doubt have on us. Meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing are powerful tools for cultivating presence and stillness, helping us quiet the mind and return to a state of trust and peace. Letting go of doubt and fear requires faith in ourselves, in the process of life, and in the divine force that is always guiding us toward our highest good. Faith is the antidote to doubt. It reassures us that even if we cannot see the full path ahead, we are always supported and protected. Faith invites us to take inspired action, knowing that the universe is working in our favor. When we release doubt and fear, we open ourselves to a life of limitless possibility. We move from a place of hesitation to a place of flow, from resistance to receptivity. In letting go of the need to control or predict every outcome, we create space for miracles, allowing the divine to work through us in ways we could never have imagined. The freedom that comes from trusting in the process of life is unparalleled, and it is the key to manifesting the life we truly desire. From the end is a powerful concept that shifts the way we approach life and manifest our desires. It means aligning yourself with the feeling of already having achieved what you want, rather than waiting for external conditions to validate your dreams. When you live from the end, you mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of your fulfilled desire, and by doing so, you draw it into your reality. This approach is based on the understanding that reality is shaped from within, and that your inner state creates your outer world. Most of us live as though we are constantly moving toward a goal in the future, waiting for circumstances to change before we can feel satisfied, happy, or fulfilled. We tell ourselves, once I achieve this or that, then I'll feel content. However, this mindset keeps us trapped in a perpetual cycle of waiting, reinforcing the belief that we are separate from our desires. Living from the end requires a complete shift in thinking. It asks us to abandon the idea of time and distance between where we are now and where we want to be. Instead, it invites us to assume that what we want is already ours and to feel as though it is happening now. This shift in perception is not merely about positive thinking. It's about a deeper realization of how creation works. In the unseen realm, everything you desire already exists. The gap between your current reality and your ideal reality is not a matter of time or effort, it is a matter of consciousness. When you live from the end, you bring your consciousness into alignment with the version of yourself who already has what you want. This act of mentally and emotionally being in the state of fulfillment is what creates the conditions for your desire to manifest in the physical world. Living from the end requires you to feel the emotions associated with your fulfilled desire. How would you feel if you already had the job, relationship, financial abundance, or health that you want? Would you feel joy, peace, relief, excitement? The key is to cultivate those feelings now, even before the external evidence appears. When you do this, you are sending a clear signal to the universe that this is your reality, and the universe, in turn, responds by bringing circumstances into your life that reflect that inner state. Living from the end transforms how you approach daily life. Instead of reacting to circumstances with fear or frustration, you respond with the calm assurance that everything is working out in your favor. You begin to see life through the lens of already having what you desire, which alters your behavior, your decisions, and your energy. This shift often leads to inspired action, where you naturally do the things that bring you closer to your goal, not because you are striving, but because you are acting from a place of fulfillment. Living from the end is about becoming the version of yourself who already has what you want. It is about embodying that state of being, trusting in the process, and allowing the universe to bring forth the manifestation of your desire in perfect timing. When you live from the end, you realize that you are the creator of your reality, and that the power to shape your world lies within your consciousness. The idea that God is within you is one of the most profound truths we can grasp, and it has the power to transform how we view ourselves and our lives. Many people have been conditioned to see God as something external, an entity that exists outside of us, separate and distant. We often pray or seek guidance as though God is in some faraway place, waiting for us to be worthy of connection. But the truth is much deeper. God is not outside of us, God is within us, always present, always available, and always expressing through us. To recognize that God is within you is to understand that you are never separate from the divine. This realization immediately shifts your perception of life. Instead of seeing yourself as a limited, isolated being at the mercy of external forces, you begin to understand that you are an expression of the infinite. The creative power that formed the universe resides within you, and it works through you in every thought, word, and action. You are not just a small part of the divine plan, you are a direct manifestation of it. When you realize that God is within you, your perspective on challenges and difficulties changes dramatically. No longer do you feel powerless in the face of life's obstacles. Instead, you recognize that you have access to divine wisdom, strength, and guidance at all times. This inner connection means that you are never truly alone, no matter how isolated or overwhelmed you might feel. The divine presence within you is always there, ready to provide insight, comfort, and solutions. Understanding that God is within you also means realizing that you have the power to shape your reality. You are a co-creator with the divine, and your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are the tools through which creation happens. Every time you think of thought or imagine a scenario, you are using the divine power within you to bring that thought into form. This is why it is so important to cultivate a consciousness that is aligned with love, abundance, and peace. When you fill your mind with these qualities, you are drawing them into your life experience, because the divine power within you responds to the energy you project. This awareness of God's presence within you deepens your sense of self-worth. When you understand that the divine resides within you, you no longer need to seek validation or approval from the outside world. You realize that your worth comes from the fact that you are an expression of God. This sense of divine identity frees you from the need to conform to society's standards or measure yourself against others. You are inherently worthy, not because of what you do or achieve, but simply because of who you are, a unique and beautiful manifestation of the divine. Living with the awareness that God is within you also transforms your relationships with others. You begin to see the divine in everyone you encounter. This recognition fosters compassion, kindness, and understanding, because you realize that the same divine presence that lives within you also lives within them. Every person you meet becomes an opportunity to connect with the divine in a new way, and your relationships become richer, deeper, and more harmonious as a result. This inner divinity also leads to a profound sense of peace. When you know that God is within you, you stop searching outside yourself for fulfillment, love, or happiness. You realize that everything you need is already present within you, waiting to be expressed. This realization eliminates anxiety and fear, because you no longer feel the need to control or manipulate external circumstances in order to feel secure. The peace that comes from this inner knowing is unshakable, because it is rooted in the eternal truth of who you are. In embracing the truth that God is within you, you step into your true power. You begin to live not from a place of lack or limitation, but from a place of divine connection, creativity, and abundance. This awareness opens up new possibilities for growth, joy, and fulfillment, because you are no longer operating from the small self, but from the infinite source of love and wisdom that resides within. God is not something distant or unreachable. God is the very essence of your being, always present, always guiding, and always expressing through you. In conclusion, to leave everything in God's hands is to embrace faith, to trust the divine wisdom within you, and to recognize that the creative power of the universe is always working on your behalf. By living from a place of deep trust, releasing doubt and fear, and aligning with the fulfillment of the present moment, you tap into the infinite potential that lies within. God is not outside of you, but within, guiding and shaping your life through your imagination, your thoughts, and your beliefs. When you surrender control and trust in this divine presence, you open yourself to a life of peace, joy, and boundless possibility. Thank you for listening, and may you always remember the divine power that resides within you. Ladies and gentlemen, we often find ourselves striving, pushing, and forcing situations in life. We believe that through our relentless effort we can bend reality to our will. But I am here to tell you this is not the way. The law of assumption is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood principles governing human experience. It teaches us that our external reality is shaped not by the events around us, but by the assumptions we hold within. What you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the blueprint for your life. Your assumptions act like seeds planted deep within your subconscious mind, and these seeds eventually manifest into the circumstances, relationships, and events that unfold in your world. At its core, the law of assumption is about believing something before there is any physical evidence of it. This is where many people struggle. We are conditioned to think that we must react to what is visible and tangible, but in truth, the outer world is simply a reflection of our inner state. By assuming that something is already true, you create the conditions for it to materialize in your life. This principle operates regardless of whether the assumption is positive or negative. If you consistently assume failure, disappointment, or rejection, life will present you with scenarios that align with those beliefs. Conversely, if you assume success, joy, and abundance, you will attract situations that confirm those assumptions. The challenge, of course, is to maintain these positive assumptions even when outer conditions seem to contradict them. Many people live in a state of reaction, letting the world dictate their feelings and beliefs. But the law of assumption invites you to reverse this process. Instead of responding to what you see, choose to believe in what you wish to see. It requires a shift from being a passive observer to becoming a deliberate creator of your reality. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and live from that state of mind, regardless of the current circumstances. The key is to persist in this feeling until it hardens into fact. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. Rather, it's about cultivating an inner state of conviction that transcends your current situation. If you want to manifest financial abundance, for example, the law of assumption teaches you to act as if you are already abundant. Feel what it would be like to have financial freedom. Embody the emotions of ease and security that come with wealth, even if your bank account does not yet reflect it. Over time, your external world will begin to conform to your inner assumption. One of the most critical aspects of the law of assumption is persistence. Many people give up when they don't see immediate results, assuming that their desires are out of reach. But true mastery of this law requires unwavering faith. You must hold on to your assumption, even in the face of contradictory evidence, knowing that the outer world will eventually catch up to your inner belief. Doubt and fear are natural, but they must be acknowledged and then released, not allowed to take root. It's important to recognize that the law of assumption is always in operation, whether you are aware of it or not. The life you are living right now is the result of past assumptions. This means that at any moment you have the power to change your reality by changing your assumptions. If you want to transform your life, begin by identifying the beliefs and assumptions that are holding you back. Then, consciously replace them with new ones that align with the life you wish to create. The law of assumption empowers you to take control of your destiny. It reminds you that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. By assuming the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled, you activate the creative power within you. This law is not about effort or struggle, it is about inner alignment. The more you practice assuming your desires are already real, the more your life will reflect that truth. The power of inner conviction is one of the most profound forces available to each of us. It is the quiet, unwavering belief in something that exists within us, even before the outer world shows any evidence of it. This inner conviction, when properly nurtured, has the ability to shape our reality in ways that go beyond what we may consciously understand. Unlike fleeting wishes or passing desires, true conviction is deeply rooted and enduring. It stems from an unshakable certainty that what we believe in will, without a doubt, come to pass. Inner conviction is not about hoping for something to happen, it is about knowing, on a fundamental level, that it already has. It transcends hope or desire and moves into a state of assurance. When you hold a strong conviction, you are no longer swayed by external circumstances or temporary setbacks. Even when faced with challenges or opposition, your inner certainty remains intact. This is the foundation upon which real transformation occurs. It is this quiet but powerful belief that makes the difference between success and failure, between achieving your desires and falling short of them. What gives inner conviction its power is the deep alignment between your conscious mind and your subconscious beliefs. When you are fully convinced of something, it permeates your thoughts, emotions, and actions, creating a cohesive energy that moves you toward your goal. Every word you speak, every decision you make, and every step you take comes from a place of knowing, not questioning. This alignment causes the subconscious mind to work tirelessly to manifest the object of your conviction in the physical world. Many people struggle with this concept because they are conditioned to rely on external validation. They believe only in what they can see, hear, or touch, and as a result, They lack the confidence to hold firm in their convictions when faced with opposition. But true inner conviction requires that you trust in the unseen. It is about believing in something that has not yet materialized and holding on to that belief with absolute certainty, regardless of external circumstances. The power of conviction is evident in every great achievement throughout history. Whether it was the creation of groundbreaking inventions, the discovery of new lands, or the accomplishment of seemingly impossible feats, these achievements were driven by individuals who possessed an unyielding belief in their vision. They did not allow doubts, failures, or the opinions of others to deter them. Instead, they held fast to their conviction, trusting that their inner belief would one day manifest in the outer world. The same principle applies to our personal lives. When we cultivate inner conviction, we align ourselves with the energy required to bring about our desires. Whether it's a career goal, a relationship, or a personal transformation, the key is to foster a belief so strong that no external circumstance can shake it. This does not mean that challenges won't arise, they almost certainly will. But with conviction, those challenges become stepping stones rather than barriers. Instead of giving up at the first sign of difficulty, you push forward, knowing that the outcome you seek is inevitable. One of the most significant challenges to developing inner conviction is the presence of doubt and fear. These emotions often surface when we begin to pursue our desires, particularly if those desires are ambitious or unconventional. But inner conviction is not about the absence of fear, it is about overriding that fear with certainty. When you allow your conviction to become stronger than your doubt, you gain the ability to move forward with confidence, even when the path ahead is unclear. In order to cultivate inner conviction, it is essential to spend time nurturing your beliefs. Visualization, affirmations, and meditation can all help strengthen your inner knowing. Now, the more you focus on what you want, and the more you affirm its inevitability, the stronger your conviction will grow. Over time, this conviction becomes so deeply ingrained that it transforms your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you are aligned with this level of belief, the outer world begins to reflect it, often in surprising and unexpected ways. The power of inner conviction lies in its ability to shape your reality from within. It is the unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours, and it compels the universe to align with that truth. When you trust fully in your inner conviction, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the creator of your destiny. It is the fundamental force behind all creation. It is the origin of every great idea, invention, and transformation. From the moment we are born, we use our imagination to explore possibilities, dream of new realities, and create entire worlds in our minds. What many do not realize is that imagination is not merely a tool for daydreaming or escaping reality. It is the very engine that drives the manifestation of our desires into the physical world. Everything we see around us, every object, invention, or creation, first existed in someone's imagination. Before the tallest skyscrapers were built, before the most advanced technology was developed, these things existed as ideas in the minds of those who dared to imagine them. The power of imagination is the ability to see beyond what currently exists and to believe in what could be. It is the birthplace of all creation, because it allows us to transcend the limitations of our present circumstances and envision something greater. It is not limited by time, space, or the constraints of the physical world. When you use your imagination, you are not bound by what has already happened or what seems possible in the present. Instead, you are free to explore infinite possibilities. The key to understanding the creative power of imagination is realizing that it is not separate from the world of reality, it is the precursor to it. What you consistently imagine, with enough belief and emotion, will eventually manifest in your physical reality. But the reason imagination is so powerful is that the mind cannot distinguish between something vividly imagined and something that is physically real. When you engage your imagination with focus and feeling, your subconscious mind begins to accept these imagined scenarios as true. This is why athletes visualize their performances before a competition, and why successful people often see their achievements in their minds long before they manifest. By imagining something repeatedly with strong emotion, You program your subconscious mind to bring that vision into reality. It also allows you to live from the end. This means that instead of waiting for circumstances to change or external validation, you can use your imagination to experience the feeling of your desire being fulfilled right now. When you imagine vividly, you generate the emotions, thoughts, and vibrations of already having what you want. This is crucial because the universe responds to your emotional state. By living from the end in your imagination, you align yourself with the frequency of your desired outcome, making it easier for that outcome to manifest in your life. Is also a way of accessing higher levels of consciousness. When you imagine, you tap into a realm of infinite possibilities. This realm is not bound by logic, reason, or the constraints of the material world. It is a place where anything is possible, and by consistently returning to this place in your mind, you begin to shift your external reality to match your internal vision. Imagination is the tool through which you create your life. What you hold in your mind becomes what you experience in the world. The more vividly and consistently you use your imagination to envision the life you desire, the more powerfully you set the stage for its manifestation. You are the creator of your reality, and imagination is the blueprint. Whatever you can imagine, you can create. Divine timing is the concept that everything in life happens at the right moment, in perfect alignment with a greater plan. It is the understanding that there is a rhythm and order to the universe that we may not always perceive or comprehend. Trusting in divine timing means surrendering control over the when and how of your desires, allowing the universe to bring things to fruition in its own perfect time. It is a profound act of faith and patience, recognizing that what is meant for you will not pass you by, but will arrive when the time is right. The challenge many people face with divine timing is impatience. We live in a world that emphasizes instant gratification and constant striving. When we desire something deeply, it is natural to want it to happen immediately. However, pushing for outcomes before they are ready can lead to frustration, disappointment, and even self-sabotage. Forcing things to happen out of alignment with the flow of life often results in struggles that could have been avoided if we had simply trusted the process. Timing operates beyond the scope of our limited human understanding. There are countless factors at play, many of which are invisible to us. Sometimes delays occur because the right circumstances or people are not yet in place. Other times we are not yet fully prepared for the manifestation of what we desire. What may seem like a delay or setback is often a protective mechanism, allowing for better opportunities to emerge or for us to grow in ways we cannot yet see. Trusting in divine timing means believing that the universe is always working in your favor, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust is the cornerstone of divine timing. It requires letting go of control and releasing the need to constantly check for progress. This trust is not passive. It is an active choice to believe that everything is unfolding as it should. When we trust in divine timing, we stop worrying about outcomes and start focusing on our inner state. Instead of forcing things to happen, we focus on aligning ourselves with the energy of what we want, knowing that the universe will deliver it at the perfect time. So, when you trust in divine timing, you allow life to flow with greater ease. This does not mean you sit back and do nothing. Rather, you take inspired action when it feels right, but you do not force or rush the process. You understand that everything is interconnected, and that the universe is orchestrating events in ways you may not yet see. You may desire something intensely, but divine timing ensures that you receive it when it serves your highest good, not just when your ego demands it. One of the most difficult aspects of trusting divine timing is dealing with the unknown. We are often uncomfortable with uncertainty, and waiting for something to manifest can feel like stepping into a void. However, it is in this space of waiting that some of the most important inner work occurs. When we learn to be still, to trust, and to let go of our need to control outcomes, we cultivate patience and faith. We strengthen our connection to the divine, recognizing that we are co-creators with the universe, and that we do not have to carry the burden of creation alone. Divine timing also invites us to release attachment to specific outcomes. Sometimes what we think we want is not what is truly best for us. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, may have something even greater in store. Trusting in divine timing means being open to the idea that life may unfold in ways that surpass our expectations. What you desire may come in a different form or at a different time, but when it does arrive, you will realize it was exactly what you needed. Divine timing teaches us that everything has a season. Just as nature follows its own rhythm, so too does our life unfold in perfect harmony. By trusting in this process, we release the need for control and allow ourselves to experience life with greater peace, knowing that what is meant for us will come in its own time. Patience, faith, and trust in the unseen forces of the universe are the keys to embracing divine timing and experiencing the fullness of life's unfolding. Being is the state of living in harmony with yourself and the world around you, without resistance, struggle, or force. It is the natural flow of life when you are aligned with your true essence, where actions come from a place of inner peace and clarity rather than anxiety or compulsion. This way of being is not about inaction or passivity. It's about allowing things to unfold in their own time, trusting that the right opportunities, people, and circumstances will come into your life without having to force them. It is a state of receptivity, where you attract what is meant for you, because you are aligned with your inner truth. At the core of effortless being is the idea that you do not need to force anything to make it happen. The harder you push against life, the more resistance you encounter. In contrast, when you let go of the need to control every outcome and trust in the natural flow of life, you move into a state of ease. This ease is the hallmark of effortless being. You stop feeling the need to constantly struggle, and instead you take inspired action when it feels right, trusting that everything is unfolding in perfect harmony. Being is about living from a state of trust rather than fear. When you are in this state, you are confident that what you need will come to you, and you stop worrying about how or when it will arrive. Fear often leads to overthinking, overworking, and overcompensating, driven by the belief that we must constantly do in order to achieve. But the truth is, the universe responds more to our state of being than our constant doing. When you are at peace and aligned with your desires, the energy you project attracts what you want without the need for force or excessive effort. This way of living requires a deep connection to your inner self. It is through self-awareness and self-acceptance that you find this state of flow. When you know who you are and what you truly want, you naturally align with the path that leads to your highest good. Effortless being comes from trusting yourself, trusting the process of life, and surrendering to the timing and flow of events, rather than constantly trying to manipulate or control them. Effortless being does not mean sitting back and doing nothing. Rather, it means taking action from a place of alignment and inner guidance. When you are connected to your inner self, the actions you take are inspired, and they feel easy and natural. You are no longer driven by fear, competition, or the need to prove yourself. Instead, your actions come from a place of calm knowing, and because of this, they are far more effective. This is where the magic of effortless being lies. When you act from a place of ease, everything around you seems to align, and what you desire flows to you without unnecessary struggle. One of the key aspects of effortless being is non-resistance. Resistance occurs when we fight against life, trying to force outcomes or control circumstances. This creates tension, frustration, and often delays the very things we desire. In contrast, non-resistance allows us to flow with life. It doesn't mean passivity, it means acceptance. You accept where you are, knowing that life is always moving you forward, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment. This acceptance opens the door for new opportunities to come into your life, often in ways you couldn't have planned or predicted. Effortless being also involves a shift in mindset. Instead of believing that life is a constant struggle, or that you must always hustle to succeed, you adopt the belief that life supports you. You begin to see that everything happens for a reason, and that when you are in alignment with your true self, the universe will provide what you need, when you need it. This shift from struggle to ease transforms the way you experience life. You stop chasing outcomes and start attracting them. Effortless being is about letting go of control and allowing life to unfold in its natural divine order. It's a state of trust, flow, and alignment where you are guided by your inner wisdom and supported by the universe. In this state, life becomes more joyful, peaceful, and fulfilling, because you are no longer pushing against the current, you are flowing with it. From the end is a powerful concept that involves mentally and emotionally placing yourself in the state of already having achieved your desired outcome. It is the practice of imagining and embodying the feeling of your wish fulfilled, acting as if the outcome you seek is not in the distant future, but already a present reality. By doing so, you align your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the future you want to create, making its manifestation in the physical world more likely. The essence of living from the end is understanding that you are the creator of your experience. Instead of hoping for your desires to come true or waiting for external circumstances to change, you take control by first changing your inner state. You imagine the life you want as though it already exists, and you live in that mindset, regardless of what your current circumstances may be. This requires a shift from being reactive to being proactive in how you think and feel about your life. You no longer react to what is happening around you, but instead you act from the state of already being the person you wish to become. When you live from the end, you activate a deeper level of belief and certainty. You're no longer asking, will this happen or how will it happen? Instead, you are embodying the feeling that it has happened. This feeling of certainty and fulfillment draws your desire toward you, because the universe responds to your emotional vibration. If you are consistently vibrating at the frequency of your wish fulfilled, you attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with that frequency. This practice also changes your behavior and actions. When you fully embrace the belief that your desire is already realized, you naturally begin to take actions that are aligned with that reality. For example, if you are living from the end of being financially abundant, you stop acting out of scarcity and fear. Instead, you begin to make decisions from a place of confidence, security, and abundance. This shift in mindset leads to behaviors that support your desired outcome, further reinforcing the reality you are creating. Living from the end also involves letting go of doubt and worry. Doubt is a natural part of the human experience, but it can sabotage your efforts to manifest your desires. When you live from the end, you commit to the belief that your desire is inevitable, no matter how far away it may seem in the physical world. You focus on maintaining the feeling of already having what you want, rather than getting caught up in the how or when it will arrive. This faith in the unseen allows you to release resistance and trust in the process. It's important to understand that living from the end is not about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. Rather, it's about shifting your focus away from what is lacking or missing in your life and placing your attention on the state of fulfillment. By doing this, you start to experience the emotions and thoughts of someone who already has what they desire, and over time, your outer world begins to reflect this inner shift. A key part of this practice is persistence. The outer world may take time to catch up to the new inner reality you are cultivating, and during that time, it can be tempting to revert to old patterns of thinking. However, living from the end requires consistency. You must continually return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence. This persistence strengthens your belief and deepens your connection to the outcome you seek. Living from the end is about becoming the person who already has what you desire, internally and emotionally, before it materializes externally. It's about aligning with the future version of yourself and embodying that state in the present. When you live from the end, you are no longer waiting for life to bring you what you want. You are actively creating it from within. This shift in consciousness transforms not only your inner state but also the reality that unfolds around you, making the fulfillment of your desires a natural and inevitable result. In conclusion, the concepts we've explored, whether it's trusting in divine timing, living from the end, embracing the power of inner conviction, or understanding that imagination is creation, are all about aligning with the natural flow of life. When we let go of force, struggle, and resistance, we allow the universe to work on our behalf. Living in a state of trust, ease, and inner certainty empowers us to manifest our desires more effortlessly. by focusing on who we truly are and embracing the feelings of already having what we seek, we transform our inner world, and our outer reality follows. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these powerful ideas. Remember, you are the creator of your experience. Trust the process, live from your vision, and everything will unfold in perfect harmony.